Okay. We got a match that's against Gallengingham FC. Uh, Feel free to correct my pronunciation there. Um, this is one of those matches that we've really we've sort of got to win. We want to make a goal this season, but actually they set up pretty defensively and played direct ball. So we checked their past match results. So their most recent one, I don't know where it is here, they lost 2-1, right? So yeah, so take nothing for granted here. Um, I mean, I guess we'll set up with our standard tactic, um, but we will be pretty quick. We'll be pretty quick on the ball to change stuff up if it is not working out for us. Um, Very quick here. Okay, change. We've got to change already. So, right, we're going to start just putting everything in the middle and start doing extreme settings. Um, see if that helps. I'm really not liking this. Okay. So, alright, I was just about to say how we need to change everything, and now actually I think we can back off a bit. We can play counter attacking, hopefully, and see how this turns out for us. So the difference here on my other matches is that because they're playing a defensive formation, it's less risky to think let's just protect our 1 goal lead, right? Whereas if we're playing against a team that's not so good and really attacking, like the team that we destroyed, it like if the team that's not so good and they're attacking, it makes more sense to, if you're controlling the match, to just push on and try to get that second goal, because you just don't want to risk it. We're actually, anyway, it's like we've had a few shots anyway since we scored, and they haven't had a shot. So anyway, it's a good change. We had when we were talking, we actually had a great. They just had a good chance as well, but we've each missed a clear-cut chance. But overall, we're winning and we're in control of the match, and we're creating a few chances against a team that's set up very defensively. So I think, all things considered, we're in a pretty good situation right now. The match is definitely ours to lose, or to not win. It really is. So I'll just pause and think now, because we didn't have a lot to react to, but now actually getting a red card does seem like one of the more sort of legitimate concerns that we should be aware of here to try and avoid. So what I'm actually going to do is this change, because it's more defensive. We can go 5 across the back, actually. We can go 5 across the back when we're ready with this change. So that substitution gives us added future tactical flexibility, because we can actually bring him back and go 5 across the back when we want, and we could also put in in the back three and bring the wing backs up as well if we wanted to go more attacking. So this change allows us to actually, without making another substitution, to have gone more defensive or more attacking. So it's a good one. And I already feel like we're ready for the second sub here. Yeah, I guess we bring on Algren because he's only 91% fit, but he's easily our best player. So I think that one makes sense as a change. Pretty soon I think it's going to make sense to now change to 5 across the back. We're already very much into the sort of the okay, let's just, I think we're just in the territory where we're saying let's just defend our lead sort of state now, because they really haven't created very much. And okay, good. I was braced for them to score straight after we did this, but hopefully we can defend whatever they throw at us. It's probably time to do the last sub. Even if they score now, it's so late on that, like, realistically probably ain't much that we can really do to respond to it, so we're better off just to make sure they don't score to begin with. So I think we take off Kanu for Vega. So again, just coming back even slightly more defensive here. Okay, but we have. I mean, they've had a few half chances, but we've easily defended all of them, which is what you expect when you back off that much and just sit back. You expect them to throw something at you, but you also expect to be able to repel it. So that was good. So the key thing to achieving this is, again, got there's different matches where, you know, goals have different value in different matches, right? This is a match where a goal is incredibly valuable. There are just matches where whoever scores first, they genuinely puts them at a massive advantage, because the games are just going to be so tight. Goals are going to come at a premium, and in those matches, when you do get the goal, you really want to make sure that you convert that into 3 points. So it's like a totally different way to approach matches when there's a lot of sort of back and forth action and lots of chances. It's a really different sort of tactical approach. It's better to sort of take more risks. If there's a lot of back and forth action, taking risks is better, generally speaking, especially early risks. You want to take early risks if your opponent is offline, if there's a lot of action, because basically you will learn more early about what works and what doesn't, and the more you can learn early, the more of the match that you have left to apply what you've learnt, and the more stuff there is happening to result in more goals for you to sort of turn that advantage into what really counts, which is goals on the scoreboard. But in a match like this, you don't want to take, in a tight match, you don't want to take any risks unless you have to. So and if you get that goal, you do want to change stuff still. It's different types of changes though. It's less sort of extreme stuff. What you want to, you still want to learn. You always want to try and learn early, ideally, and against an offline team, because you want to basically learn. If nothing, even if you try some sliders, you really want to know a setup that formation and tactical settings. It's really valuable to know one that sort of results in, even if you're not creating anything, it's really valuable to know a setup that results in your opposition not creating anything hardly, because then if you do get the lead, you know what to change to. So it gives you that option to change into when you decide to hold out. So it's just, yeah, really different style game. In matches like this goal is really, really valuable. But it was still early. We didn't want to sit back and hold out for the whole match. We didn't properly sit back fully until this last change. We progressively got more and more defensive, and that was intentional. So we got the goal. We didn't go that defensive yet. We just changed back to our original sliders that didn't concede anything much from them, and actually, you know, we only have one more shot the whole rest of the game. So we changed back with the intention to stem their flow, and then the reason why we stuck with it is because we still had a few chances ourselves. But then as they picked up that yellow card, we just subbed a holding midfielder for a more defensive holding midfielder, and then each of the next two substitutions, this one we took off a striker for a midfielder, so more defensive obviously, and then the last one we took off an attacking midfielder for another central midfielder, and we ended up bringing a midfielder into holding midfield and a holding midfield into defence. So we progressively got more and more defensive, and that's intentional because basically as more and more of the match completed, realistically there was just less that we could have done anyway. Even if we had that spare substitution here, if we never made it, even if we kept it, realistically against a team set up this defensively, like if they scored and we changed something for the last 5 minutes of the match, realistically there's probably hardly any chance that we could have scored anyway. Some chance, but not a great chance. So the better way to approach it at that point was to change it up so that we didn't, to decrease the chances of conceding a goal to begin with. That was the right play, right? So it's all to do with how much they're creating, right? They weren't creating basically anything. So as the match progressed, it just made sense to shrink into our shell more and more and go more and more defensive and just be happy with our 1-goal lead. So yep, that's how this one's played out. So we played it out, we got the win, and actually, you know, even though they're right down here, not doing too well, actually, you know, have we conceded more goals than them? I think we have. No, we haven't. So, but we've conceded a similar amount of goals to them, right? The difference is obviously they're just set up way too defensively. So they've only scored 3, right? So we actually didn't pay attention to that fact before we kicked off. If you hadn't known that, probably we would have been more happy to go more defensive more early in the match. So we should definitely pay attention to stuff like that. It's a pretty basic fact that we easily could have seen if we just paid a bit more attention. Against a team that's only scored 3 goals like this, conceivably we might have even thought about properly trying to shut up shop even from half time. So yeah, okay, great, thanks for watching. We do continue our nice little run of form here now. As we discussed before, this went to replay, which we won. So draws leading to replays aside, we've actually won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've won 6 matches in a row. It's a nice, and then actually, and ignore, you know, without our silly little statistic about draws leading to replays or whatever, ignoring, even if we include them, we still won 5 in a row. So we're in a nice vein of form now. And actually, that, I think, even though it was only a 1-0 win, it was a pretty convincing win, really. They only had 2 shots the whole match. They had only 1 shot in like the last 70-something minutes. So even though we only won 1-0, it was a really convincing 1-0 win. Really, really convincing 1-0 win. And then all of these wins were all really convincing as well. So we've actually got not only have we got 5 wins, but we've had 5 really dominant, really convincing wins. So we're in a good patch of form, and and we're happy. It's all with the same tactic as well. So obviously we're going to stick with it, stick with that tactic, see where it takes us. And Kanu was done. Even though we scored these matches when we weren't online scored in the matches we weren't online for. Even though he was very wasteful in games where basically he could afford to be wasteful, all in all he's contributed quite well. 7.5 is a really, really high average rating. He definitely won't maintain it, but it feels like we should stick with him for the time being. He set the goal up in the match that we just played. It feels like basically he, as long as we're winning all of our matches convincingly with this tactic, and I guess he gets to own that role until we eventually don't win a match. I guess he's there, he's starting, and hopefully contributing a little bit more than he has in the last 4 games. More like in the first 2, but yeah, all in all, and Comas coming into the starting lineup he's performed quite well for us too. You can see here is when he came in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starts, and he scored 5 goals in those 6 starts. The patch of form here, so really good form for him, especially when he's subbed off at half time. And even this one, subbed off at half time, he's still got 2 assists. So yeah, I think he's in great form. I think team's in great form. It's all going good for us. We're going to play the next match and hopefully get another win. So it's a tough one. So who knows what we'll get, but hopefully, obviously, we'll get the win. But I think it's against Baconators, is it? So it's actually like, yeah, it's against top. So it really is all this great form, all this hype, all this build up. Can we turn it into a win against top? Because if we can, then I think you could start to get confident about us being the real deal, and properly, realistically be thinking, if we don't get a top 4 place this season, we should be properly disappointed. And yet we lose to this team, and all of a sudden we feel like we're probably miles away still. So very important match, the sort of season-defining match in many ways for us. So all right, cheers, thanks for watching, and we're going to play the next match very shortly. Cheers.